but how are we taking care of our financial health? So this is something that Nicole and I have been working on as we created Club Ichi and have turned it into something. It has become a business, but running a business is a team sport and you need expertise to make sure that this is going to work, and how you can do it is very, very important. It's not just a matter of setting a money goal and then going after it. There are processes and things as we're learning. So we met Andy O'Brien with Action Coach Central Texas, and he has really been helping us figure out exactly what we need to do to get our finances in order to turn this into a real business. And I thought that it would be incredible to have Andy here with us today, Chief Energy Officer of Action Coach, to tell you a little bit about how we are getting our stuff together and how you can too if you're running your own business for 2025. Andy, welcome.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I am so excited to have you. Okay, so tell the folks a little bit about what we've been doing and what you've made us put in order and how you've taught us how to use spreadsheets again.
Oh, are we allowed to swear on this?
Go for it.
All right. No, thank you so much. Look, I'm so excited. I absolutely love the protecting the asset. You know, the most important person in the asset, and this is a big conversation that you and I and Nicole had, was who's the most important customer in your business? And the first thing that we see in all businesses is, because Liz, you and I share the same traits, right? We give, we give, we give, we give. We care more about others than we do about ourselves, and we'll sacrifice ourselves. Exactly. But at the end of the day, there's nothing in servant leadership that is subservient. So when we first met, you know, part of the thing that we talked about was, I have who's your number one customer, right? And everybody says, well, it's this person or
It's
this
my
person or this
members.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reality is it's not, it's you. So when we talk about growth of the business, the first thing that I see with entrepreneurs over the last 30 years is we forget that if we don't take care of us, none of this other stuff matters. And one of the things that we talk about is, how do we make sure you're getting paid? How do we make sure that you're taking care of your needs, your kids, your family, your dog, your house, things like that, but also the business as it is. So when we start looking at budgeting and reporting, you know, true understanding of what is actual profit, because businesses, believe it or not, team, I love this side of the business. And we can talk about servant leadership. We can talk about leading others. We can talk about taking care of our team. We can talk about taking care of all of these things. But at the end of the day, you run out of money, no passion, no purpose, nothing without money. So as we've started doing that again, it's building realistic budgets, building things that allow us to carry on further forward if something were to happen to me, if I got sick, if I couldn't go to work, or God forbid, knock on wood, you know, I got hit by a car.
Yeah, I loved it. I think my mind-changing moment was your whole spiel on, I'm a capitalist. So do that one for us.
All right. So yes, I'm a full-blown capitalist. I believe everybody on this call should make as much money as humanly possible. And if you choose to give that to the US government or whatever country you're in today, you choose to give it to the government, or you choose to do it with philanthropy, that is not my job. My job is to make as much money because I want you guys to have more. Your business is supposed to give you more life, more fun, and more love in your life, not the reverse. Resentment, disparity, self-judgment, self-doubt. All of us in business go through those phases.
Yeah. So what's the importance of having a business coach? It's not something that we had ever had before. We never brought anyone on. We just did some things. And then we found you, and it was that like shake us by the shoulders mindset thing, but also the processes. And so I know that there are a lot of coaches. In fact, our next segment is with a coach specifically for the event industry. But what value do coaches like you bring?
I think all of us bring 4 specific words into it: awareness, education, implementation, and discipline. As a coach, you guys can't see it, but on the wall behind me, it says day zero. That was a scene from when I read the book Extreme Ownership, and it really talked to me about awareness as a second set of eyes, a trusted advisor, somebody who's not emotionally connected to the business, right? Education. Look, in our business line, we are business generalists, but we have served thousands of clients from startups to billions of dollar companies over the years in our team. But it's education. It's bringing proven, tactical, granular strategies that work in business. The next thing is implementation. I can't tell you, I laugh all the time when I'm like, who wants to change or who likes change? Everybody raises their hand like, oh, I love change. And who needs to change? And we all point the finger at the person standing next to us, right? Oh, my team needs to change, but it's implementation of change. It's helping you see the forest through the trees, or the trees in the forest, or maybe sometimes the flower right in front of the trees. And lastly, discipline. Most entrepreneurs that I know, high discipline, self-discipline, right up until they don't want to, right up until they're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Well, you said you wanted this. Our job is to help you see what that is. And, I always ask clients this, and I, if you recall, I asked you, are you a carrot or a stick? And for those of you that are listening that don't understand the analogy, back in the old days, yes, before I was born, they had these things called carriages that were pulled by mules. And in order to get the mule to move, they take a carrot, they tie it to the end of the stick, and they would hang it in front of said mule, and the mule would walk and chase it. So it's celebration. It's a treat. It's a resource. So they would do that. And then the other mules who were really stubborn and really hard-headed and didn't want to make changes, they take the carrot off and they beat the mule with the stick. And I ask every client that, because every one of us don't react in the same way. And yes, am I high discipline? Absolutely. But I don't do that to people who don't want it. I'd rather be a reward person than a stick person every day of the week.
So a little bit around the just charging what you're worth and charging it all. I know that we have had a really tough conversation around our Slack channel. We have over 1,000 people in Club Ichi in the Slack channel, and only 300 of those are actually paid insiders. So you told me, first of all, the number one asset of this community is people getting access to each other, and that we should just flat out cut it off. Say, if you're not an insider, then you're out of the Slack channel. And I was like, no, those people are getting so much value. And what did you tell me?
I didn't say your bank account doesn't care what your emotions are doing, but I would have said something to that factor. And it's not that I don't care, but when I looked at the value proposition, and this is true of all human beings, including myself. If I personally don't see value in something, I won't do it. However, I'm also the same person that will call others out for taking advantage of other people, especially when you're building a business. And we were talking about those that have used your have went in and gathered so much information, and then, oh my gosh, they went out and made 40 or 50 or 60 or $80,000. And it's not that they shouldn't do that, but we must charge a fair, marketable value for the products and services and teardrop them. If you're giving so much to people, at some point in time, with no money, there's no passion. And if there's no money, you can't fund the growth programs for Club Ichi at any level. You can't go on the trips. You can't go and hold forums. You can't do this. I know everybody thinks Zoom is free, but it's not. So yeah, it's about asking for your fair share and taking the clients from, I can't remember. I know it was not a real big amount, but if every person on this call, just think about it. So I think we talked about it was like $250. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So think about this math equation for a second. If every person here went on the Slack channel just on working days, which, by the way, for all of you out there, that's 260 days. For those of us that work Saturdays and Sundays, it's 365. But think about it. Your value proposition is $1 a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, $1 a day. If somebody comes to me and goes, I can't.
For
What's that?
$1 a day, you can have access to thousands of B2B event professionals.
Exactly. There's our commercial. But it's if somebody tells me like, oh man, I can't afford that. I call BS. I call, look, $1 a day. Maybe you need to skip that cigarette. Maybe you need to skip that can of Coke. Maybe you need to not go for a drink. Hey, maybe you need to start paying attention to build business more, right? Right?
Yeah.
It's about all of these things. And man alive, everybody here, and I'm sure the coach coming on next, business is hard enough without getting sucked back in for somebody who doesn't find value in our things. And that's okay. I tell people that all the time. I told you that I'm not for everybody. Our firm is not for everybody. And the first conversation I had with people when they're like, well, I think you should charge this much, I tell them, well, you go ahead, you go build a business, you go get your own money and you build it out, and then you come back to us and tell us how it went. Because that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for the Hellman adjustment. Thwack. And thank you for helping other people understand that they should be charging what they're worth. We have a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, freelancers, and small business owners in the community. And I think that having this coach, having somebody go, you are worth it, is important.
Yes.
It's incredible. And so, Andy, Chief Energy Officer of Action Coach,
Yeah.
thanks
And
for
I wore
sharing
my
some of that
Santa suit
energy
for
through the
you.
screen. Look at you. I wore my Skibbity Rismas shirt just like I told you. So,
all right. Well, Merry
thank
Christmas.
you again,
Happy
Andy.
holidays.
Yes. And we're going to go to our next coach, the events coach.